Hovhannes Tumanyan, the voice of the Armenian people. Welcome to English Audio Cafe. Today, we bring you the inspiring story of Hovhannes Tumanyan, one of Armenia's greatest poets and writers. His words captured the struggles and dreams of the Armenian people, making him a symbol of wisdom, resilience, and hope. Stay with us until the end, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more English listening lessons. Hovhannes Tumanyan was born on February 19, 1869, in the small village of Tseg, in the Lori region of Armenia. He was the eldest of 8 children, raised in a humble but loving family. His father was a kind and wise priest, and his mother was a storyteller who filled his childhood with fairy tales and legends. Even as a child, Tumanyan showed a deep love for books and storytelling. He would listen to his mother's folk tales and then retell them to his friends in his own way. He had a natural talent for words, and everyone admired his imagination. At the age of 10, Tumanyan left his village to study in Tiflis, now Tbilisi, Georgia, which was a major cultural center for Armenians at the time. Life in Tiflis was difficult for a young village boy, but he was determined to succeed. He spent hours in libraries, reading literature, history, and philosophy. By the time he was a teenager, Tumanyan was already writing poetry. His early poems reflected the beauty of nature, the struggles of the Armenian people, and the dreams of a better world. His words touched the hearts of many, and he quickly became known as a rising literary star. In 1890, at just 21 years old, Tumanyan published his first collection of poetry. His poems were simple yet powerful, full of deep meaning and emotion. He wrote about the poor, the oppressed, and the hard-working villagers, people who had been ignored by society. Tumanyan was not just a poet, he was also a storyteller. He wrote some of Armenia's most famous fairy tales and fables, including The Dog and the Cat, The Foolish Man, and The Talking Fish. These stories taught lessons about kindness, honesty, and wisdom. One of his most famous works is Anish, a tragic love story that later became an opera. Anish tells the tale of a young woman caught between love and tradition, highlighting the struggles of Armenian society at the time. The story's themes of love, honor, and sacrifice made it a masterpiece. Tumanyan's writings were not just for entertainment. They were a reflection of real life. He wrote about injustice, poverty, and the struggles of Armenian families. His works gave a voice to the suffering of his people and inspired them to remain strong. But Tumanyan was more than just a poet. He was also a leader and activist. He believed that literature should serve the people, not just entertain them. He spent his life fighting for education, unity, and justice for Armenians. At the beginning of the 20th century, Armenians faced many hardships, including wars and political struggles. In 1905, during the Armenian-Tatar conflict, Tumanyan took great risks to bring peace between the two communities. He acted as a mediator, trying to stop the violence. Even when he faced threats, Tumanyan never backed down. He believed that words had the power to heal wounds and that literature could bring people together. He wrote essays and articles urging Armenians to stay united and strong. In 1912, Tumanyan became the head of the Armenian Writers' Union. He used this position to support young writers and artists, encouraging them to create works that would inspire future generations. He wanted literature to educate, enlighten, and uplift the Armenian people. Tragically, Tumanyan's life was deeply affected by the Armenian genocide of 1915. He saw the suffering of his people and worked tirelessly to help the refugees who had lost their homes and families. He opened shelters, organized aid, and used his influence to bring international attention to the tragedy. But the hardships took a toll on Tumanyan. He was arrested by the Russian authorities for his political activities and spent time in prison. Despite everything, he never lost hope. Even in his darkest moments, he continued to write and dream of a better future for Armenia. Tumanyan's later years were filled with struggles, but his spirit remained unbroken. He continued to write poetry and stories that inspired generations. His works became part of Armenian schoolbooks, teaching children the values of honesty, kindness, and courage. Sadly, Tumanyan's health began to decline. In 1923, he traveled to Moscow for medical treatment. On March 23, 1923, he passed away at the age of 54. His death was a great loss for Armenia, but his words and legacy lived on. Today, Tumanyan is remembered as Armenia's greatest poet. His works are still read and loved by people of all ages. His home in Seg has been turned into a museum, where visitors can learn about his life and achievements. Many streets, schools, and cultural centers in Armenia and around the world are named after him. His books have been translated into multiple languages, spreading his wisdom beyond Armenia's borders. Tumanyan's life teaches us a powerful lesson. True greatness is not in wealth or power, but in serving others. He used his words to inspire, educate, and unite people. His story is a reminder that even in the face of hardship, we must never stop fighting for what is right. Tumanyan once said, "The purpose of life is to serve people and bring happiness to their hearts." His life was a perfect example of that philosophy. He may no longer be with us, but his words continue to guide and inspire millions. That's the end of today's inspiring lesson on Hovhannes Tumanyan. His story shows us that literature is more than just words. It is a powerful force for change. If you enjoyed this lesson, listen again to improve your English. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to English Audio Cafe for more motivational stories. See you next time.